our podcast Eligible In, where we feature eligible guests that you can date. We took a little summer break, but we are so back. My name is Devin, and I'm your host. Today, we are introducing YJ. YJ is a Chicago area influencer, public speaker, and soon-to-be actor. We are very excited for this conversation today. As always, if you enjoy the conversation, please give us a follow on social media and be sure to subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform so that you're notified when new episodes drop. So, YJ, tell us about your work and sort of how you got involved in content creation.
So I started working at this warehouse and I was trying to get into this trade job. I was trying to get into the union and that didn't end up working out. And it was during COVID. And I was working at this warehouse where they pretty much kept everybody that was working there longer than everybody else. They had to let go of a lot of people. So I was one of those they let go. And on top of that, I didn't know what I was going to do afterwards. So my brother was the one who actually told me, he's like, hey, you should check out this app, TikTok. You should download it. I feel like this would be a good fit for you. And at first, I was kind of curious to that because all I knew at the time was, girls just dancing on TikTok and just like trends and stuff like that. I didn't know how that was my fit. So once I started looking into the app, I knew what he was talking about because of my humorous side and then like how me getting into acting and stuff like that with the voiceovers and things like that. So I knew what he was talking about once I did more research and I started doing food videos and one of them went viral. And from there, a whole bunch of businesses started contacting me and I went viral just eating food. And I never thought that was going to be my thing. From there on, I went from doing that to doing other things, going around rating different cities with the microphone in public, and then showing my music and showing my side of my acting side, doing voiceovers. And then the notoriety came and everywhere I went from I would say being on the app for 2 years, everybody started recognizing me in public.
It's so cool. When you find yourself in those situations out on the streets talking to people, do you have to sort of work up the courage to approach people? Are people always willing to talk to you? How does that usually go?
So I've always been a people person. I've always been open to talking to people that I don't know, especially in the dating world. I've always been open to just having conversations with girls or people that I didn't know. And I just can tell right away, I can read people. I walk past people and I'm the people coming towards me. I usually go in public places where it's a lot of people walking around. And I can just tell, I feel like I have that gift where I can read people. He's going to say, yeah, he's going to say no. She's going to say, yeah, she's going to say no. I feel like I have that. And of course, I get people that say no. I've never had anybody within the 3.5 years of me doing this. I've never had anybody come up to me and tell me hey, rude, coming off the wrong way. I never had any of that problem.
Do you, to that extent, are you also the kind of person who has an easy time approaching women for dates and talking to them?
I feel like I've always had it better in person, more or less than on the internet, because you never really know how a person really is behind a screen. In person, yeah, definitely, I've always been good at that.
Yeah. Would you say that this type of work has opened certain pathways for you? Has it been generally a positive experience?
Most definitely have multiple, I wouldn't say brand deals, but I've got a sponsorship already with the energy drink from the East Coast. It's called Gym Juice. They sponsored me from seeing me gaming online. I have 2 restaurants that I run, their social media pages, and they pay me salary. And this is all because of I did the food reviews. And I feel like these opportunities would have never landed in my lap had I not downloaded TikTok.
Right. That's awesome. And so that's sort of the positive side of things. I think that there's also can be sort of a negative stigma attached to spending too much time on social media. How do you make sure that you balance that and you don't lose yourself in the dark sort of doom scrolling side of things? Do you have certain hacks? Do you set screen time limits? How do you approach that?
I started getting into the screen time limit, seeing that I used to be on my phone for like, I would say like 7 to 8 hours out the day. And I'm like, wow, like I'm on my phone way too much here. Like 7, 8 hours out the day, I got to reduce it a little bit. So I started paying attention to my screen time. And then also I started losing like interest in my old hobbies that I used to be into. And that would be reading and fishing and things like that. So I started getting back into it and I noticed and going to the gym more. And I noticed when I started doing those things, it started balancing me out. Spending time with family instead of just focusing Monday through Sunday, all content creating and streaming, because it eventually feels like work and you start getting like tired, like how you do at a regular job, a regular 9 to 5, and you build that exhaustion and you need to give yourself a break. It's just like it's very good for your mental to give yourself a break. So I found my ways by going fishing, going to church even, and just balancing myself out. That was a big key. That was definitely important.
Yeah. You seem like such a positive person. Would you say that you agree with that and that you're hopeful for the future? What kind of sort of change would you like to see for your city?
Definitely, I am a very hopeful person, especially for my future, because I'm pretty sure everyone. I mean, I would hope people would be hopeful for themselves. I hope to one day keep grow from this more than where I'm at right now. So like I don't feel like I wasted time looking back, reflecting, 10 years from now, like, damn man, that was just a waste of time type thing. So I am hopeful though that this is going to pay off in the long run, helping my acting career, helping my brand. And for my city, I mean, I don't really want to get into politics, but I hope that the changes for my city, I hope that, you know, that the grocery taxes reduces down. I mean, I feel bad for a lot of people out here, like, because I go to stores and I ask questions too, and I can see and I can hear conversations. People, there's a lot of people out here struggling in Illinois, and yeah, I say Illinois with an S. There's a lot of people out here struggling, and it's funny too. I'll say the S stands for struggle because it's really hard out here right now, and that's one thing that I would hope that my city changes is the grocery tax and the cleanup in the streets, with the gang activity real strong out here, Aurora not being too far from Chicago. I hope that changes too in the near future because the next generation is very important. And with, gangs and drugs being very involved into our community, I hope that changes and clears up because nobody wants that for the city. And I sure in the hell don't want that for my city.
Right. I think you had mentioned this before that although you're a very online person, it sounds like you prefer sort of talking to people and talking to potential suitors in real life versus, um, maybe on the apps or via DM, which is funny because I think that's such a difference in sort of like your day job and then how you approach dating. Is that true that you'd prefer to find someone sort of the old fashioned way versus IRL?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like the old school way is the best way because you never know who's behind the screen. I don't want to throw these. Someone could be schizo, someone could be crazy, someone could be, bipolar. And you want to see how that person talks in person. You can't really see all that behind the screen. And then with the technology nowadays, with the AI, people can conversate to you back using Chat GPT, not knowing how to socialize in person. So they're just using AI to contact, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's very important to, and as myself, I would rather talk to someone in person. Yeah.
And so that's more looking toward the future. Have your past relationships, have you met that way, just in real life sort of encounters versus apps and social media?
Yes, I've definitely had I would say trial and errors, past relationships through Facebook and didn't go too good. And this was before actually the TikTok fame, I would say. So I know it would be probably 100 times more messy if I did it now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the landscape's changed so much since then. That makes sense. Do you
Yeah.
How do you think sort of what are the generational differences? How do you think the younger generations are different from previous generations and sort of what they're looking for, how they view romantic relationships? Are they more independent, or do you think that they still believe in that concept of, finding your true love, your true match?
I feel like the new generation today, it's so easier. You can literally meet someone. You can like instead of having to travel from city to city, from Chicago to Miami, Chicago to Detroit, you can literally just hop on a FaceTime call or just a swipe away, or just a tap away. More than back then, you had to work your way for it and really build that relationship with that person. So I feel like the past generation had to really work towards meeting that individual and, building that love and trust. And nowadays, everything's just so quick. People are doing hookups and meetups real fast just by a swipe right and a decline left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so even just geographically too, getting to people and meeting up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way different now.
Yeah.
Way different.
What would you say are some of the advantages and disadvantages to being this public social media figure when it comes to dating? Do you think it helps you in some ways and hurts you in others? Do you think it's both?
So I feel like with this could be with anybody too, with any type of fame, you can use it and abuse it. You could definitely take advantage of it. Because right away you're already looked at and you kind of got your background looked at. You know that this person is already interested in you from certain videos that they seen out of you. So it's kind of like it's not really hard to start conversation because they're probably going to be asking questions about you regardless. So I feel like
You're less of
I mean,
a mystery.
yeah, and you know what I mean? Because if you walk to somebody that you don't know completely, you're gonna like, yeah, it's kind of different. It's different. Like, like if you know a celebrity from, like, say, like a football player or a an actor, you're gonna like, you can talk off like, hey, I love that movie that you were in. How was it like? And behind the scenes, like, it's kind of those type of conversations. But I'm the type of person that I've never really used my I would say TikTok fame or my social media fame to try to hook up with anybody because again, I'm more of a person that would rather, meet somebody in person than doing it like that. It's just I feel like that's wrong too. I mean, and then everything spreads out, and then screenshots. You got like what we're talking about. This generation, people screenshot everything, and there's receipts everywhere. So if I'm out here literally, risen up talking to 100 different girls, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up on that. What's that one app? That T app that they have nowadays? Like, yeah. So I'm trying to stay away from that, and I'm glad that I've never fallen into that. So I don't ever end up on something like that, and everything is just everything's vocal, everything's in person. I mean, if I could tell if someone's recording me in person, that'd be weird. But yeah, I don't never try to leave receipts or anything like that. So that's why I don't abuse this. Yeah,
Yeah, there's such an online paper trail that follows you.
exactly. And
It sounds like too that you would probably rather start talking to someone who maybe meets you in real life first before knowing your social media profiles and persona.
yes, definitely, because I just feel like you know I feel like they're gonna automatically think money. I would rather have somebody not know who I am, not know what I'm about, and just everything brand new, on both
Mhm.
ends. And if she knows who I am, I'm just gonna feel like she's gonna either automatically think, oh, this guy's got money, or and things like that.
Yep, that makes sense. You want to feel like you're starting at the same sort of playing field of getting to know each other.
Yeah.
I think also too, we talked about this a little bit, but social media habits can differ for some couples, and I think it can be a source of contention for some couples too. Are you the type of person who wants to show your partner off on social media, or would you rather keep them private and sort of protect them in that way?
I would like to show them off, but if she with me being, known on the internet. If she is not really up for it, I would totally respect it. But I would also want on her end to show that she's in a relationship with me here and there. And if she's not trying to, that's a little worrying. Like, I don't want to date somebody that's keeping me a secret. I don't want to keep anybody a secret because I know that would probably feel horrible. Like, I know if you really love somebody and if you really want to work and build a future with somebody, you don't want to keep somebody a secret.
Yeah, you're proud of it. You want to show it off.
Yeah,
That makes
absolutely.
sense. What would you say is one or more than one, but aspect of your life that you are most excited to share with a future partner?
I would say coming from the cloth that I came from and showing and saying that and letting them know like I am physical living proof that you can definitely make a change in your life, coming from the negative converting into positive, and how far I came just looking back was is a big milestone. And I would let them know like, my past, like I was used to hang around the wrong crowd and people that were doing the same thing every year and weren't making any changes to their life and not following God and not going to church and things like that. And so I would definitely let them know like, I came a long way and like this is my story and kind of letting them know my story, because it's
Mhm.
very meaningful to me because of how far I came and only I know and only God knows. But bringing a partner involved, I would want them to know that as well.
So proud of your past, but also maybe even more proud of what you did with it, where you went with it.
Yes, because I could have easily ended up still staying doing negative things and staying in the streets and doing stuff like that I shouldn't have
Mhm.
been doing. Yeah.
You talk a lot too about your faith and how that grounds you and how it's gotten you through some dark times, it's kept you out of trouble. Would that sort of be a requirement in a future partner? Would you want the person that you end up with to be someone who is of the same faith or has some sort of larger faith too?
I wouldn't want to force it on them. I would want them to find God in their own way, just the same way that I did. I wouldn't, expect them right away to go to church with me every Sunday. And if I was like starting like brand new with somebody that's in another relationship, like another religion, I wouldn't want them to change their religion for me. I would respect their boundaries because that's kind of wrong. If you're dating somebody and they already were following some type of religion. I wouldn't want them to convert for me. I feel like I would be able to work around that, but I would definitely expect a relationship to be based through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I would love for my partner to be following the same religion as me. I would really, really love that. Yeah.
Yeah, as sort of a bonding experience, or at least just to know how much you value that in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
What kind of woman do you respect?
I respect all women because coming from, my mom is always I'm a mama's boy and I have aunts that were single mothers and my sister was actually a single mother as well too at a point in time. So I respect all women except for the ratchet ones. No, I'm just kidding. But like literally I respect all women and I feel like that would answer your question right there for that cuz I don't see myself saying there's like a certain group of women that I don't respect. Like I came from that household too. Like, never put your hands on a woman. You never ever raise your voice at a woman. There's sometimes, but I'm not a perfect man. I've gotten into arguments before, and then calling them out their name too. Never call a woman out by their name, bitch, because that's where I grew up. That's the type of environment that my dad taught me about. So yes,
Well, and it sounds like too, you mentioned that you have a lot of like single mothers in your life and you sort of grew up with that as a foundation. And so I would imagine you respect independence in women too.
absolutely,
So I
absolutely.
think that's a big thing too. What is your ideal date? Like where would you take a date? What are some of your favorite places to take a date in? Well, now I'm going to call it Illinois. That's the S.
I would say if for a first date, and this goes for every guy, I feel like it should never be too low. Like it should never be too high. Like you don't want to take a girl to McDonald's or Denny's, something low. you don't want to take her something too expensive right away because you're already showing too much. You're doing too much. I feel like it needs to be in between. Maybe somewhere like middle, mm, uh, Olive Garden, something like, something that's not too up there. Like, you want to take her to the heart of Chicago at this 5-star restaurant like STK. You don't want to do that because then automatically she if she's that type, she's gonna expect that every single time. Maybe she might. You never know. And then if you take her to some place that's like extremely cheap, she's gonna look at you like, what? You know what I mean? You don't want to take your first date to McDonald's like that. You know what I mean? Like, so that you want to keep it. I would say keep it in between. Definitely want to keep it in between.
So don't set a low bar, don't set a high bar, and manage
Exactly. Exactly.
expectations in that way. That's funny. That makes sense. I get it. So something that we like to do, this is actually my favorite part of podcasts and chatting, is we like to play games. And so now that our listeners have gotten to know you better, we're going to play a fun little game that we're calling the Deal Breakers game. So I'll list off some social media habits or deal breakers, and you'll decide whether it's a deal breaker or not. But
Okay.
the thing, of course, is that you can only choose 5 deal breakers out of the 10 that we'll list. And you'll, of course, have no way of knowing what we're going to say next and how bad the rest of them get. So that's the fun part of it all. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Let me grab it real quick. Okay. Take.
So I'll
Okay.
I'll list off social media habit, and then you'll just say deal breaker or not a deal breaker after each one. And I'll keep a running tally so that we both know when we get to 5. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Let's do this. Okay. First one is you're in a relationship, but she never posts you.
That's a deal breaker.
Makes sense. I feel like we talked about that before. She still follows all of her exes.
Deal breaker. Deal breaker. Because I'm honestly like, come on, keeping in touch with your ex is like a person that's been kidnapped keeping in touch with their kidnapper. It's like, why would you do that?
She asks you to take 20 plus photos of her to get one good shot.
I feel like, no, that's not a deal breaker. I mean, if she's,
Okay, you're in the industry, you're a content.
yeah,
You
there's
get
different angles and stuff like that.
it. You got to get that shot. Also, I feel like you would be good at that. So I feel like you wouldn't need 20 plus photos. Like you'd be the best camera person.
Yeah, I'm good at working with the camera.
All right, so that one's not a factor. What about this is another one we've talked about too, but she posts screenshots of your private conversations.
On social media, like on her story, because I've seen women do
Yes.
that and stuff like that. I mean, if it's like the good morning, good night ones, I'm okay with that. But if it's like,
We call
like,
these private conversations.
yeah, no, I wouldn't want our private conversations out there. Nah,
Should we count
that's
this
a deal
one?
breaker for me.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, not that one.
All right. We're at 3. She makes her zodiac sign her entire identity.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a deal breaker because I've met, no, I don't feel like everyone sticks to that because you never, yeah, that's not, I feel like that's not true. And I'm not really into horoscopes like that. So that'd be a little weird if she could bases her whole persona off of that. Nah,
All right, we're at 4.
that's funny.
Okay, what about this one? She filters her face beyond recognition.
That's funny you say that because I talked to somebody that used nothing but you're talking about like filters and then meeting them in person, they look completely different, right? Like I get it, like a little smoothing is like okay, but like, shaping your eyes and your
Right.
face lining and stuff like that. I feel like that's a little too much. So I feel like that'll be a deal breaker right there because nobody wants to meet somebody that doesn't look how they look online. That's just like, hey, yo, like, why are you lying?
Right. Be proud of who you are and, own it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Should
so
that be 4?
I think that's 5, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah. So there were 3 more.
Okay, you can still ask those. Yeah.
One was she goes live on Instagram from her car.
There's nothing. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I go live on TikTok from my car
Yeah.
when I'm not at home.
It's a standard backdrop.
Yeah.
She shares fake news articles without fact checking.
That'd be a deal breaker because I don't want to be with somebody out there that's giving fake news. That's like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
Problem.
people are gonna be asking me, like, bro, what is she post? I don't want that. Definitely don't want that.
But this one, she makes content about moments in your relationship, both the highs and the lows.
I would love that she would post content of a relationship, like our dinner dates, us going out, but our lows, like, and then like if she's friends with her exes and stuff like that, she's just asking for attention from other people or other inputs, I feel like at that point. So I would not that's definitely a deal breaker. Like, yeah. Cause we should only talk about if you're gonna post our lows, I mean, it's like, why are you posting that? Like, is there something you want to talk about or you want to talk about it with someone else type thing? Like, what is that? Like, what are
Right.
you looking
Well,
for?
why does it need to be public? Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's the game. I feel like you did pretty well.
Yeah, I hope I did.
It's a standout red flag that you chose. I don't think anything's that surprising.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
It was so lovely hearing your story, getting to know you. I know that there are definitely going to be listeners out there who feel the same way. So if you're listening to this podcast right now and you know somebody who would be a perfect fit, or if you think that you'd be a perfect fit for YJ, you can go to our website at eligiblein.com, or you can also email us at hello@eligiblein.com. Thank you, YJ.
Thank you guys for having me anytime. And I'll be posting clips of this on my TikTok. You guys can find me at YJ_630. And my Instagram is YJ_AUR, abbreviated for Aurora. People ask me all the time, why is it AUR? It's literally the first 3 letters in Aurora. So I don't know if anybody got that or not.
Thanks for listening to Eligible In, a production of Eligible In Media. Our theme song is by Monster Rally. If you see someone you like on our show, or if you would like to nominate yourself or someone you love to be interviewed by us, please visit us at eligiblein.com for more information, including a link to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can stay up to date on our newest episodes, as well as exclusive features of our eligible people.
Lovely.